Here we go. Episode 33 of the Hardline Sports Talk. I am Michael Merlo. Along with me, I have John Michael Masiri. JM, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Got a lot of stuff to unpack today.
Yeah, there's a ton to get to. It was a crazy, crazy weekend. For New York sports and just in general, we're going to talk about the weekend in sports, obviously, with the NFL starting and how good it is to have that back. Both New York teams with a loss on Sunday, but one wasn't as bad as the other. And just a lot of surprising things to me happen. But again, we're going to get to that in a little bit. We're going to save football for after the break because we do want to start with baseball here. And both teams are competing for a playoff spot, the Yankees more so than the Mets. And they faced off against each other over the weekend and things got heated. It was a very emotional weekend because of, the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and both teams again competing for a playoff spot. The Yankees held the playoff spot. They still don't right now, correct?
Nah.
They did going into the weekend. They don't now. They lost 2 out of 3. They're a half game behind the Red Sox. So it was a really intense weekend. And the Mets, fighting for their lives, probably not going to make it, but still mathematically in it, and they feel like they're in it. But there was a lot. So what did you think of the weekend overall as a Yankees fan?
Well, real quick, I forgot the Red Sox actually lost to the Mariners Monday night. So they're the Yankees are tied, but they hold the tiebreaker. So they do hold the playoff spot right now.
Okay.
What did I think of the weekend? Yeah, obviously, like you said, a lot of emotions running high and everything like that. I mean, obviously, I would have preferred Francisco Lindor not hit that home run and they win the game, but that was a really cool game and cool moment there. I don't know. I think this whole like the way it all started with the signs, the not the signs, the tipping pitches thing and the whistling and whatnot. The Yankees claimed that they weren't whistling because of tipping pitches. They were doing it just as whatever, rooting for the team or whatever they were doing. And yeah, emotions were running high, like you said, and we obviously know what happened. Stan hit that 2-run shot, said something to Lindor. Lindor hit his third home run of the game off Chad Green. No surprise there. Chad Green's like a batting practice machine right now.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, it was a cool series. It was a fun series, like you said, the 9/11 stuff. And then that Sunday night game was definitely one of the best games of the regular season.
It was the first time I kind of felt like in a while, especially with watching, the Subway Series. Now that I'm, an incredibly intense fan, that it felt like a real rivalry.
Right.
Yeah, they, are huggy and, lovey-dovey on Saturday before the game. But I mean that, they were pissed at each other on Sunday, and that was pretty cool to see. When, the thing for me is, listen, the Mets won a game, the Mets won a game. The people saying, oh, the Mets won their World Series on Sunday, whatever. I don't care that the Mets beat the Yankees. Is it an added bonus? Sure. Just like it would be an added bonus if the Yankees would have won that game. You're beating your crosstown rival. But for me, the thing is Lindor. He's looked good since the first 2 months of the year. The numbers aren't going to show that, his total numbers. But if you look at his numbers since June, since coming back from the disabled list or the injured list, he has been, the Francisco Lindor that they paid for,
Right.
the guy that he was in Cleveland. And that's the best thing to see. And him just embracing the city, in the series, I thought that was cool. And that's the biggest thing of the weekend. Unfortunately, the Mets lose Monday night and they lose 7-0 against the team that they trail in the wild card. That's a bigger loss, and that would have been a bigger win than the game on Sunday. So that's just how it goes. Those games mean more. The teams that you're trailing, the teams in your league, in your division, those games mean more, and the Mets can't win that game. And, I'm going to be there tonight. They better win tonight. And I had said they have to go 5-1 this week for them to keep their hopes alive. I don't think they're going to do it. They'd have to go on a 5-game winning streak here. So it's, the Mets, listen, I think the biggest thing is Lindor, and you got a lot of questions heading into the offseason.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, this is a really important week for them. They have this series against the Cardinals, and then coming up right after that is the Phillies, who are two teams that are in contention for this wild card. And this NL wild card, I think we said about a month ago, we were like, the Mets' only shot at making the playoffs is winning that division, because it seemed like that wild card was sealed up. The Padres, no one was expecting the collapse that the Padres had. And now the Padres are clawing just to stay in this thing. It really is insane, though, that to think that the Dodgers are a wild card team and they're going to have to play one of these teams in a 1-game playoff. I mean, there's 16 games up in the wild card, which is insane. But hey, you got to win your division.
You know what sucks even more? Yeah, you're right. Win your division. I guess it sucks that you have a team that is that good in your division. But what shouldn't happen, honestly, and they should think about it, is reseeding, where the Dodgers shouldn't have to come out and play the Giants.
Right.
And the same thing, the Giants' first round matchup should not be the Dodgers. It should be, whoever comes out of the NL East, because the Brewers are no team to just, blink your eye at. They're a good, solid team. I don't like that. I think reseeding should happen. I think if the wild card team is the worst team, fine, they play the 1 seed. But if the wild card team has the second best record of the National League, they shouldn't have to play the best team, and the best team shouldn't have to play them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate something like that, like a reseeding. I think it's kind of stupid. Some people were saying, there's got to be a certain point where you just say, all right, no second wild card, like this team's far, far better. Like, yeah, I don't get, the MLB is never going to do that, especially when it comes to money. That game's a big TV revenue and ratings grabber. So I think the Dodgers will win whoever is there. They should win that game. Like, it is baseball, you never know, but
it's baseball. Like, anything can happen.
If this was football, maybe different, but it's baseball. So if let's say I'm just gonna pick let's say the Phillies make the wild card, okay? They got Zach Wheeler pitching the first game. Zach Wheeler is a hell of a pitcher, and he's had a Cy Young-esque season with the Phillies. So if he has a good game, and let's say Scherzer or Buehler or whoever they pitched in that wild card game doesn't have his greatest stuff that day, the Phillies could be, moving on and playing the NLDS. So, but yeah, baseball is a crazy game, but this wild card race is certainly not over in the NL.
They'll never get rid of that game. As long as your team's not playing it, it's a great watch. It is very exciting.
Yeah.
If your team's playing in it, it sucks.
Yeah, I've had 3 of them, and our only hope at the playoffs right now is for it to be a 4th one. So yeah, it's definitely an extremely stressful game. But
can we talk about those Blue Jays, man? Because they are scary. I mean, I would be petrified to play a team like that. And you look at Alex Manoah last night, one of their top pitching prospects that they brought up in May or June. He goes 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, 1 hit against the best team in the American League yesterday, along with putting up 8 runs. Vladdy took over the Major League home run lead. If I'm a Yankee fan, if I'm a Red Sox fan, if I'm a Mariner fan, if they get in, I do not. And even the Rays and the Astros and the White Sox, I do not want to play that team.
Yeah. Yeah, they're damn good. And that's something about a young team that we don't realize sometimes is they get better as the season goes on. And you're seeing that with the Blue Jays right now. I mean, if you look at the Blue Jays post All-Star break, they're one of the best teams in baseball. Certainly offensively they are. And that was the thing we said about this team was the offense was coming into this year. We were like, yeah, they can make some noise, maybe get into the wild card. That offense is really good, but it's just that pitching and especially the bullpen. But now the pitching's coming around. No one expected Robbie Ray to have a Cy Young-esque season. And like you said, Alex Manoah, they traded for Jose Barrios. They have Hyunjin Ryu. Like, that is a legit play. If you look at those 4 guys, that's a playoff rotation. That is a legit playoff 100%. Rotation. And then that lineup is obviously, we know how good the lineup is. The only problem is still the bullpen isn't fantastic.
Yeah, but how many bullpens?
I was just about to say that. How many teams have a great bullpen? The White Sox and the Astros is decent, but a lot of teams have bullpen problems and they can get by. But I don't. Yeah, I think to a certain point, I don't think this Blue Jays team. I know they're really hot, but if they do make the playoffs, if they do win the wild card, I don't think they're going to go to the World Series, but I definitely think they could make some noise and be a really tough opponent.
I don't know. I would. Are they better than the Astros right now?
Possibly. I think their rotation's better than the Astros.
Who's the team right now? You'd say in the American League that gets there? The Rays.
The Rays. Um, I'm not the biggest White Sox guy just because I think they're
I'm not either.
I think
Not anymore.
their record against above 500 teams isn't fantastic. I think they're a good team with good players all around. They have a good lineup, have a good bullpen, they have a good rotation. So you would think they're like a legit contender, but just something about that team makes me think they're not really going to be able to get it done. I don't think. I think they're good all around, but I don't think they're great.
I was high on them a month or two ago, and not so much anymore.
Yeah.
That record against bad teams hasn't improved. I thought it would. They've been banged up. Lucas Giolito, Tim Anderson, and Andrew Vaughn were activated today. They're going to play tonight, but yeah, they haven't played well against the good teams. I don't see that happening for them. I think they're the weakest bunch out of the teams, out of the division winners, and I think possibly out of the wild card, depending on who wins that.
Yeah. I agree with that. I do. I think the Astros are better than them. And yeah, I mean, they haven't really had any competition in that division. I mean, the Indians are like the closest thing, and they're nothing special. So
No hit 3 times.
yeah, um, they actually have a series coming up against the Yankees. The Indians, Yankees
Maybe
have
throw no hitter.
yeah, Yankees have an easy schedule coming up. So if there's a time to get back on track, it's right now. But you never know with this team. So, but
I'm trying to read
just
up on this Manning.
what are you reading up on? What?
No, you go. It
Oh,
was
okay.
completely off topic.
Oh, okay. Just going back to the Blue Jays and everything that you said, I sent you a text last night, and I'm going to double down on it right now. I think Shohei Ohtani was the MVP, and I was sure of it, but man, his numbers are not as impressive offensively as they were about a month or two ago, and Vladdy's just keep getting better. So while his WAR numbers are better, and we obviously know he's a two-way player and he's dynamic, he can steal bases, he can do it all. We can't just ignore a guy who could quite possibly win the Triple Crown. I mean, he leads the MLB in MLB or AL, whichever one I forgot, in runs, hits, total bases, homers, OPS, slugging, like unbelievable numbers. Batting average in the AL.
Vlad's got a 6.1 WAR, and that's just obviously hitting and defense, and Shohei pitching and hitting is 7.7.
Right.
I don't think there's any question that Vlad is the better offensive player here. And I just want to pull up Shohei because you're right. I was looking about a month ago when his numbers fell off, and he has fell off a little bit here. Ohtani, he's obviously great. But yeah, the OPS is 972. The on base has kind of been low. It always has. It's been sitting around 360.
Mm-hmm.
The slugging is unbelievable at 611. But you're right. I don't know. It's tough. He also steals bases too. This guy. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And Ohtani's pitching numbers aren't. They spiked a little bit. His ERA is around 3.3. His ERA is 3.36 right now. So
right now, if you had to vote right now, who would you vote for?
I mean, obviously, I think Ohtani's more valuable to his team because he's one of the most feared hitters in the MLB, and then obviously he can pitch. So I always have this debate in my head: is the most valuable player the most valuable player, or is it just the best season, like statistically, that year? So if I'm going most valuable player, I'm picking Ohtani. If I'm just going off numbers and who cares about the value to the team, I'm picking Vlad.
I don't know who I would go with right now. I'll cast my vote for Ohtani, but I think things can change in 2 weeks. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I mean, I hate to usually put this into account because I don't really believe in this. I think in baseball, it's a team sport and you certainly cannot carry a team. But the fact that the Blue Jays are making this run right now and are in the playoffs and are relevant right now, I certainly that doesn't necessarily factor into mine, but I think that will help Vladdy's case.
Right. I kind of believe that it should have some I think if you're that good, if you're the MVP of the league, if you're considered the best player, you better be moving the needle for your team. You better be making your team better as much as it is a team
Yeah,
sport.
but Shohei, but my counter to that would be Shohei does make his team better. It's just the players around him are not nearly as talented as the guys you see in Toronto. I mean, he doesn't. Where's his George Spring? Trout's hurt. Where's his George Springer? Where's his Marcus Simeon? Where's his Robbie Ray? Like, yeah,
No,
it's
you're
not
100% right. But Vlad is making a difference. They're not, you know, this team is in a wild card spot without him.
Oh, 100%. I also think the
So,
Angels are probably awful without Ohtani.
yes. This is going to be an interesting race as much as the NL Cy Young is too. We're going all over the place in Major League Baseball,
Yeah.
but the NL Cy Young Award race is unbelievable. Max Scherzer is, and you brought it up a week ago or so, that we should be considering Max Scherzer as one of the all-time greats. You're absolutely right about that. He's unbelievable. He's 6-0 with like a 0.88 ERA since he's gotten traded to the Dodgers. Unfathomable. He's been that good. And I think God, Corbin Burns has been really good. I flip-flop every day. I'm gonna say right now. I'm gonna say Scherzer. I'm gonna say Scherzer.
Yeah, sure. I love Scherzer. He's been my favorite pitcher in baseball for a while. I just love everything about the guy. And like you said, the resume is ridiculous. The career resume. He's thrown a no-hitter. He almost threw a perfect game the other day. He should have thrown a perfect game against the Pirates when Jose Tabata leaned into that pitch. But 20 strikeout game. I mean, 3 Cy Youngs, a Cy Young in each league, World Series. Like his resume is off the charts. And he is having a fantastic season. And I think he could, and if he keeps pitching like this, he could edge out Corbin Burns, but Corbin Burns' numbers are so good. I mean, he's leading in almost every category. In the categories, he's not the 2 or 3 categories he's not Scherzer has. I think Scherzer's got him in ERA, he's got him in WHIP, and he's got him in hit per 9. But Burns has FIP, ERA plus, strikeout per 9, strikeout to walk, all these
new advanced stats that a lot of the voters are looking at.
Yeah, all those other stats. So it certainly is close.
Who would you say?
I would say it's 16 to 14, this 31st place vote. So 16 to 14, 17 to 13, something like that, Corbin Burns right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's impressive doing it with 2 teams as well, being this dominant.
Oh, yes.
I think that's got to factor into it as well. And he's helping them down the stretch as much as he can. I mean, there's not much to help there in LA, but do you see this Cody Bellinger stuff? The guy's batting 172.
Awful.
Not to flip-flop again, but there's a lot to get to. So we kind of got to move a little bit. He's batting 172. Dave Roberts, over the weekend was sitting him because he just needed a mental break or something, I guess. But what a fall from grace, man.
I know. I mean, this guy's winning an MVP, Rookie of the Year, everything like this, everything like that. And all of a sudden now he just falls off a cliff. I mean, last year he was a big part of their World Series run, hit a big home run last year in the postseason against the Braves. And then did he hit a home run in the Game 6 of the World Series too?
I'm not fully aware of that.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, like you said, talk about a fall from grace. And the fact that just shows you how good this team is, though, that their star player is having an awful season and they're, 40 games over 500 or whatever they are.
And Betts started off the season not so good, but he's, back to be Mookie Betts.
Right.
So pick up there.
I mean, you look at those rotations between the Dodgers and the Brewers, and you have 6 guys who are like Cy Young talent pitchers, which is insane. And that's not counting Mr. Trevor Bauer, who's not coming back this year. But
Mr. Trevor
a 1 through 3 of Scherzer, Buehler, and Kershaw, and then Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta. That's just insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And we don't get to talk about Woodruff because of Burns, but his numbers are not too far away from Burns's.
A couple of weeks ago, maybe even like 3 weeks ago, he was the Cy Young.
Yeah.
It's really flip flopped. It was Woodruff. It was
It was
DeGrom. Then it was
Wheeler,
Woodruff. It was Wheeler. Wheeler's
Bueller.
completely fell off. Bueller it was Bueller for a little while now, and now I think it's I think we finally got the two.
Right.
Did you see that stat about DeGrom with his WAR numbers?
Yes, I did see that.
Let me just pull it up quick. So the top 5 leaders in FWAR, Fangraphs WAR for MLB pitchers. I know WAR isn't, that accurate with pitchers, but Corbin Burns has a 7.1, Zach Wheeler is a 6.5, Garrett Cole is a 5.2, Max Scherzer is a 5.2. That's all in 158 innings or more. DeGrom in 92 innings is a 4.9 WAR.
That's amazing.
Miss him dearly. Hopefully
Yeah.
everything is okay with him and he is good. What's this breaking news? MLB players will not be mandated to get the COVID vaccine. Issue is a non-starter in negotiations. Okay, so that's just a little NBA news. That's the only NBA you'll get until the season starts. But what else? What else we got? I had something to ask you about the Yankees.
Just talking about races in baseball, the every single award, Cy Young and MVP and AL and NL, there's nothing that's like set in stone at all.
Who's the AL? Oh, we just talked about the AL MVP.
I think everybody talks about the AL MVP, obviously, and then we talk about the Cy Youngs, but I feel like it kind of gets like swept under the rug with the NL MVP. It's not, and it's certainly not over this race. We talked about it last week. Tatis is really good, but I think Soto's right there.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I think it's Soto.
Yeah,
that's my guy. I think it's Soto.
Soto's having a fantastic season. So
you had brought, and it's funny because we were talking about Muncy, Tatis, Harper, and those guys are unbelievable. And then you brought up Soto, and I was looking at the numbers, and he had another nice weekend, and just like give it to the best player because there's been injuries with a lot of the top guys, and it makes no sense to give it to one of those guys when you have the clear best numbers, best stat line. It's Soto. Just give it to him.
I think Bryce Harper's throwing his hat in the ring here. I mean, he's been unbelievable, especially the past 2 weeks.
I'd say it's Harper too.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers right now. It's really close. I think Tatis kind of slipped down the rankings a little bit. His numbers dipped slightly. He also hasn't played that many games, but his WAR, he still has the highest B WAR out of all these guys. So I don't know. It's tough. It's Soto or it's like a 3-way tie for me right now. I honestly don't know who to pick between Soto, Harper, and Tatis. I'd like to see Harper do it. It makes me look
insane.
It would make me look right, considering I picked him to win it,
and we drafted him in our fantasy.
Yeah. But and then the last award is the AL Cy Young. And it kind of got a little messy this past week because Robbie Ray didn't have his best start against the Orioles, and Garrett Cole was taken out of the game against the Blue Jays with that hamstring injury, but he's pitching tonight on the road against Baltimore. They better win that game. I mean, they're facing, I forgot the guy's first name, Wells. He has a 7.15 ERA. So good. This should be a good start for Cole tonight and should be a win for the Yankees. And if even with the numbers right now, with Cole missing and Robbie Ray taking the lead in innings and strikeouts, I'm still going with Cole. I'm
trying to compare the two numbers now.
His whip, his strikeout per 9, all that stuff is still ahead of Ray's. So
Garrett Cole's got the strikeout per 9 on the season against the leader ever in strikeout per 9.
Really? Who?
Robbie Ray.
Oh, you mean
like this year. Sorry,
right. I get what you mean. Yeah, so this is the fun part of baseball right now. Except when your team is playing crappy, but as a baseball fan, this is a really, really good time. All these playoff races, the wild card races, the divisional races are really done, except for in the NL West. The AL is basically sealed up. But the NL West and the NL East is still somewhat in the air. But
yeah, I think the NL East
definitely not as much of a divisional race as we're used to. It's usually a little tighter across the league.
I'm gonna say the NL East is done. I think that's the Braves.
Yeah, it is mid-September right now.
I don't think Philadelphia is going to overtake them. Question: why didn't Garrett Cole win the Cy Young in 2019?
Yeah, I don't. Justin Verlander had a great year that year, but Garrett Cole had, what do you have, 326 strikeouts or something like that?
Yes, compared to Verlander's 300.
Yeah. So I mean,
I mean,
the way,
this isn't. Listen, it's not they're not. You know,
the fact that that
look
was their
twice at.
rotation that year though is insane that they had both those guys. And is Verlander done? Like, what is his deal?
Oh, I don't think he's coming back this year.
Yeah, but I mean, what is he, 39 now or something?
He should just go retire with Kate Upton. You know, go live your life with Kate Upton.
Yeah.
That's it. Quick question before we break. Honest opinion: the Yankees are moving Gleyber Torres to second. They're moving Gio Urshela to short, and they're moving DJ LeMahieu to third. Which one do you want in the offseason? Would you want Baez? Would you want Correa, Seager, Story? Which shortstop do you want? Because I think it's a foregone conclusion that one of those guys is going to be a Yankee. Who would you want?
I'm gonna want Seager. I'm guessing that's the one you were just talking about. But
what do you mean? What do you mean? Just talking about?
You said it's a foregone conclusion that he's a Yankee. Are you talking about Corey Seager?
Oh, I was just saying one of them is going to be a Yankee.
Oh, okay. Semien too.
Semion's nobody. Yeah, I want the Mets to bring him in, play him at second or third base.
So hopefully this move with Gleyber, I don't know, maybe mentally it was messing him up, him playing shortstop. So hopefully we get second base Gleyber we're used to in terms of defense, and especially the offense is what I'm kind of talking about here. But
right.
Yeah, this Yankees offseason is going to be really interesting. Someone's going to get traded. I think multiple people get traded. I think guys who are most likely to get traded this offseason, I think you might see Luke Voit leave. I think there's a slight chance you see Gio Urshela's gone. I think Aaron Hicks could be on the move. I think even, what was I just about to say? Even Gleyber, I really believe even Gleyber could be on the move this offseason. So I don't know, but
nothing would shock me.
Yeah, but his defense, I mean, he made a couple errors against in the Mets series. So yeah, Gleyber's time. I think this whole shortstop thing is clear that it's not going to work out, and I really do hope that takes the stress off him a little bit. Maybe he was pressing too much, and I mean, what better way to do it than move him to second base, and now he gets to go play the Orioles, and kind of hopefully recapture his 2019 season where he was basically
1100 OPS.
Yeah, no, it was higher than it was like 1300 or it was like 1400.
That's crazy. Very quickly, the Mets. Would you bring Baez back or no?
At the right price and the right, no, I wouldn't bring him back. Like I was just about to say, at the right price and whatever, yes, but I'm still not the biggest Baez lover. I don't love his style of play and the way he's just so impatient and stuff like that. I think he's a good player, but personally, I wouldn't want to bring him back because I think you're going to have to give him a decently sized contract. And considering you're already paying Lindor the money you're paying him, I wouldn't give that much money to Baez. Like I'm talking over 20 million. I'm guessing that's something that he's going to get. He's not going to get in the 30s, but I would guess the 20s. But no, I would not bring him back.
He's so exciting. He's something else. He's actually been a little more patient since he's come off the IL.
I thought he just swung at a pitch like a foot off the plate last night or something like that.
Yesterday, yeah, but. I don't know. I'm indifferent with him. You know what scares me the most about thinking about bringing him back? The years. I don't. If it was possible to get him on a 2 or 3 year deal, I would do it. But I don't want this guy, for 5, 6.
Yeah,
7,
I don't.
years.
I don't know how possible that is. I think you're gonna see something
in
like 5 or 6 years.
I think the only thing I'm holding out on is maybe he doesn't get the contract he likes and he comes back on a 1 year deal. I would absolutely take that. But again, I want the Mets to fill out the roster for the future. So I don't know, but for the short term, I like them.
Listen, if the Mets could go out and go to pick any shortstop they want, that would be nice. But obviously they can't. But
they did that.
Yeah, they did that, but I think they need a second base. The plan is that they would put somebody at second base. Obviously, Lindor's their shortstop. But what I was just about to say is, if I'm the Mets, I'm throwing everything in Marcus Semien. I think that's a perfect fit for them. It's a guy who's obviously already used to playing second base. He's playing second base for Toronto right now.
You play third if you need him to.
I think you could still, believe it or not, with the season he's having, I think you could still get him for cheap. I still
cheaper than Baez or cheaper than Bryant too.
I think yes, definitely cheaper than Bryant. So I think Marcus Semien would fit in perfectly to this team, and that's the guy that I would have circled in my offseason plans. And I also think they need to go out and address one of the outfield positions.
I think Conforto's coming back. Definitely you have a massive hole in left field right now when you have to play Dom Smith or Jeff McNeil. And Dom Smith hasn't seen the field in a while.
Right.
It's been mostly Jeff McNeil, and it's almost an auto out. So, yeah, I would like to see them bring in a Starling Marte, throw him in center, and move Nimmo over to left and deal with Conforto and right. Hopefully he has a bounce back year. He's had a nice second half, so hopefully that continues. But he's so streaky. If they were to move off from him, I would be okay. If I was the general manager, I would move off of him. But I think my prediction is that he'll be the right fielder next year. I think that's enough. That's enough baseball for sure.
That is enough baseball. That was about a half an hour of baseball.
I know. There's a lot of Met fans pulling their best John Boy impression and going off on this Yankee whistling thing. I haven't looked at it yet. It's been sent to me a bunch of times though, so I gotta check it out. I'll check it out when I have more time later.
Just real quick before we go end this, this whole whistling thing. Even if the whistling thing is pitch tipping and they were letting the players know what pitches were coming, that's not. To me, that's not shady. Like you're tipping your pitches. That's on you. The Yankees don't have a guy in center field zooming in on the signs with the camera and it's relaying in the clubhouse and they're whistling out to the players like the Astros did. Like it's not like that. Like
it's completely different.
Seeing it straight up on the field.
But there's what I've seen now is that there's multiple occasions of the whistling right before the pitch and they're doing their own breakdowns. I don't know. I don't believe it. A-Rod did say that the whistling.
I don't give a crap anything A-Rod says.
I know. Usually I don't, but I've heard it from a couple of former players now that the whistling from the dugout is not respected. It's not. They don't like that. So that's why whether or not he was tipping his pitches, whatever he's tipping his pitches, that's on him. That's on the team and the signs, whatever it is. The Yankees have every right to, call that out and deal with that. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think it'll be a story, but I'll look at this on Twitter. It'll blow over most likely. So let's break quick. There's a lot of football to do. It's gonna be a little long episode.
Yeah.
So we will be right back. Here we go. Back, episode 33. We're going to break down some of the week 1 matchups. Of course, it was a very exciting weekend. And we got to talk about the Giants, their week 2 matchup. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. Let's start with how the weekend went. You were in Carolina. You had a very nice weekend. You saw Zach Wilson's first ever start against Sam Darnold. So I'm going to leave the floor to you here.
Yeah. Zach looked pretty good. Offensive line did not. The guy was running for his life, got off to a horrible start. And as I'm sitting there at halftime, I'm like, I'm going to the game this weekend too. You're coming. But I'm like, do I even want to go to this game now? Like, this is like, are we that? Is this 20? The 2020 Jets lose that game by 30 points. No question.
They don't score. They don't score 14.
They don't score. So the game actually ended up not being that bad for the Jets. The offensive line was brutal. Obviously, the Becton injury is really tough. LaMarcus Joyner's out for the year now. So, yeah, definitely this team's been hit by the injury bug earlier between those two. And then, obviously, Carr Lawson and Jared Davis is out until about week 7 or something like that. So, hasn't been good. But, yeah, Wilson didn't look bad. He made a rookie mistake on that pick that he threw. He also made
was a bad play.
He also made a couple rookie mistakes where I think his worst play of the game was when he broke a sack, scrambled around, could have just scrambled out, thrown the ball away, but insisted. He actually put the ball in his left hand and tucked it like he was a runner and was still trying to run around all these Panthers defenders, and he ended up getting sacked for about a 10-yard loss. So that I think was him being a rookie and trying to, get a touchdown every time he touches the ball. He's got to be smarter than that, but you learn from those moments. So Wilson looked good, and I think Corey Davis also looked very good.
Corey Davis looked good. I was saying it yesterday, and I'm not comparing the two players at all. Wilson, their talent level, Wilson and Mahomes, but Sam Darnold, with that offensive line, we saw it all last year.
Right.
We saw how ineffective he was, and it's really tough to be productive with a good offensive line, with a bad offensive line. Excuse me, and Wilson, who wasn't great, but with a bad offensive line, was making plays, getting out of the pocket, being able to throw the ball. He's much more athletic than Darnold. He's got the better arm. I think you just see a completely different quarterback, and I think you see a quarterback that is, going to be able to. He'll be able to win you games. He's not going to be one of those game managers. He'll in a bad situation, he'll make it work. And I don't think he's in a great situation right now, but when they really start putting a lot more, better players around him, you're really going to see this guy shine. I think week 1 showed me that this guy is going to be legit just because he can make it happen on his own if he has to. We saw it.
Right. And the thing that you hope is this team gets better as the season goes on. I mean, obviously, they're not going to come out week 1 with a brand new coach, brand new quarterback, all these brand new coordinators, new like a bunch of different roster moves and stuff like that. I mean, for example, Marcus May is the longest tenured Jet. That just shows you how quickly this roster is changing. But yeah, you're not going to expect them to come out week 1 on the road and, look like a well-oiled machine. So I don't think they're going to look like that all year. This team is not going to be good. I think they're at the most a 6-7 win team. But yeah, you just want to see improvements as the season goes on. You want to see Wilson getting more and more comfortable. Hopefully the offensive line plays better. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be tough with Becton out. But thank God they signed Morgan Moses. I think him and Fant will be able to handle it somewhat and be able to make up for Becton a little. But yeah, I was about to make a point about Wilson. Oh, okay. So comparing Wilson to Darnold, something that I noticed, and it wasn't just because Darnold was playing for the Panthers where I saw them playing at the same time and I noticed it. I just noticed it from watching Wilson. He had a lot of plays where he was scrambling and extending the play and stuff like that. And I always wondered, and a lot of Jets fans wondered this, why did Darnold not do that more? Because that's kind of part of the scouting report that we got from Darnold. He's very accurate on the run. He can, extend plays and everything like that. The difference between Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold is their overall, it's not teachable. It's their feel for the game and their pocket presence. Because when I look at Sam Darnold in the pocket, I see he's a little jittery, and you might be able to blame that on him having a bad offensive line and him getting hit a lot in his career. But I also think it's just who he is. He doesn't look all that comfortable in the pocket, and he takes a lot of sacks. And I think Wilson has that type of that sixth sense where he knows where the pressure is coming from and he knows when to escape. And he always, even when he is trying to escape, he's always keeping his eyes downfield. He looks very poised. So I'm very pleased with that from Zach. And I think, like you said, he's not going to be like a game manager type guy. He can certainly win you games.
Yeah, if I'm a Jeff fan, and it looked terrible. I mean, I was watching that game. It looked awful. And they made it. Listen, they made it interesting. And you're not looking for wins, like you said. You're just looking for this guy to continually get better and to look good. And that was, I think that's what you saw. He got better throughout the game, and they won the second half. Darnold's numbers look good, and he was a little impressive. He made a couple of impressive plays, but most of all, you had said it, dump downs. When you have McCaffrey and those weapons, it's pretty easy to be able to win a game. So
and that in the first quarter, it felt like, or even just the first half, the Panthers should have been winning that game by at least 3 possessions.
Yeah.
It should not have been 9-0 at halftime or whatever it was. Even on the first drive of the game, they were getting 7 yards a clip on every play, it seemed like, but they had a couple um, penalties and just misfortune plays. So the Panthers, I feel like, didn't capitalize the way they should have, and that game ended up being way closer. Like you said, the Jets won the second half. They played better in the second half. The Jets really just won the fourth quarter. The offense finally clicked in the fourth quarter. Wilson threw 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So
Can I
I think
ask you
it was
something?
right at the end of the third, whatever it was.
Nobody's been able to answer this question. Why is Denzel Mims coming in the
Yeah,
fourth quarter?
I'm not surprised by this at all. And I had this conversation. I guess it wasn't with you. I just remember over the offseason talking about this with Denzel Mims, and I was just a little worried about his fit into this new Jets offense because, in San Francisco, which is basically what the Jets model their offense off of, it's a lot of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. They're athletic guys. They're not huge Kenny Galladay type guys. I think that's more of where Mims is, where you try and throw them open. I think they're more, run after catch guys, run a good route tree kind of a thing. Right. And I was worried about that with Mims because Mims was very raw when he came out of school. People saw the talent, the frame, the numbers, in terms of the 40-yard dash and all the combine stats and everything like that. And they saw the potential out of this guy. And, he's not fully developed yet, A, because of that. He was very raw coming out of college. And B, I just don't know how much he fits into this depth chart and into this offensive scheme because now you have Elijah Moore, you have Corey Davis, you have Jameson Crowder. They signed Keelan Cole. You have even Braxton Berrios was getting valuable time right there. So Vincent Smith was getting more snaps than Denzel Mims. So
I'm sitting there saying, and Jeff fans had really, hyped this guy was hyped up. He was a second round pick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where the hell is he?
And Saleh came out yesterday and said basically, he doesn't know all 3 positions well enough yet to where they can be throwing him out there for a lot of snaps, in terms of playing outside, playing in the slot, everything like that. So yeah, I mean, it sucks that he's not out there, and it would be a damn shame if this is how it is, where he just doesn't really fit into this team because you obviously used a valuable pick on him last year. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. Hopefully Elijah Moore turns out to be a good receiver, so that kind of masks the whole Denzel Mims situation.
Right. I wouldn't be too worried about Elijah Moore there. What else we got with the Jets? So we're gonna be there. Very excited. On Sunday, battle of the 2 rookie quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. So that should be. I was thinking that too. I was like, because again, it wasn't the Jets were playing, pretty bad in that first half, and I was like, is he even gonna want to go next week?
Right.
I was like, oh my God. Because I get that way about the Mets sometimes when I buy tickets, a week or 2 in advance. I'll be like, I don't even want to go anymore.
There was one, I forgot what possession it was, but there was one point where the Panthers scored. They were, leading by 10 or whatever. And the Jets had a 3 and out. It was 4th and 20 or something. And I was like, they still hadn't basically got the ball past the 50-yard line. And that's when it hit me when I was like, oh my God, I'm really going to go see this team next week. But
like a repeat of the next season.
Like we said, though, they turned it around, and I had to kind of check myself a little there because obviously it's week 1. You as an NFL fan, you go in, and as a Jet fan myself, I'm trying to set my expectations low, and I have. But no matter how low I set my expectations, there's always that thing in your head that says, maybe we're better than we think. You never know. Maybe Zach Wilson has the freaking best rookie quarterback season ever, and this and that. So you're always hoping for the best. But yeah, I had to kind of check myself a little there and be like, okay, relax. I'm not expecting playoffs this year. Don't get too upset about this game right now.
Right. You want to talk about repeats of last year and getting upset and possible expectations? Why don't we just flip over to the other side of town? Come on. Being a Giants fan has not been easy. I get to fall back on the Super Bowl that I remember, and it's great. And I love that memory of that 2011 Like I got nothing. I have just losing. They
Right.
haven't had they haven't had a did you see the stat? They haven't had a winning record since that 2016 season. Like even in week one, like they haven't started out 1-1, 2-1. Like not even that.
When
They're
you
11
look
and
when you look at it, the Giants and the Jets past decade has been very similar. I mean, obviously the
yeah.
Giants have that Super Bowl, but
That makes it all better. But
the
yeah, the
Giants
record
that
wise,
was 2011 and they won the Super Bowl in February of 2012, right?
yes.
So the Jets' last good season was the year they won 11-5, lost in the AFC Championship to the Steelers. That was the 2010 season, and they lost in January of 2011. So that's a season before the Giants won that Super Bowl. And since then, it's been very similar. I mean, the Jets had that year with Fitzpatrick where they went 10-6. They just missed the playoffs. The Giants a year later had that season with or 2 years later, actually, I think, right? Because that was Brandon Marshall went to the Giants.
It was 2016. The Giants went to the playoffs.
Oh, and then
Marshall.
they signed Marshall the year
Yes.
after. Okay, yeah. So
Yes.
2016, the year after the Jets had that 10-6 season, the Giants go 11-5, 10-6, whatever it was. They lose in the wild card to the Packers. And that's been it. So yeah, for both these teams, the past decade, there's been one winning season, and everything else has been crap.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
Embarrassing football.
especially the last 4 years, 5 years.
The Giants have been worse than everybody else the last 4 years.
Yeah,
I think it's clinched now. Over the last 4 years, they have the worst record.
right.
At home, they've been terrible at home. You know, it's been, and I'm sitting here saying the only reason why I'm going to the game week 3 is because of Eli.
Right.
Especially if they lose on Thursday night, which we'll get to in a little bit. If they lose on Thursday night to the Redskins and the football team and Taylor Heineke, then I don't even know what's going to happen. You know, week 2, there's going to be a lot of bad things going on.
Everything we've been saying about the Giants coming into the season and what we were worried about sort of happened on Sunday.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to disagree.
How are you going to the offensive line and
the offensive line didn't play terribly on
Saquon
Sunday.
Like
they actually
yards.
Played good. You know, PFF rated their run blocking like 15th or 16th, which I was shocked with because they couldn't, run the ball. But the pass blocking was a lot better. Andrew Thomas played well. So yeah, they couldn't run the ball. I think that was a mixture of both Saquon and the line, though. I was shocked with the grade they got. I wasn't upset with the offensive line. I was upset with the defense, and I was upset with the play calling. The fact that the defense played that badly against the Teddy Bridgewater was embarrassing. Yeah. Patrick Graham, Joe Judge, Blake Martinez, James Bradbury especially should be embarrassed with their performance. And I'm expecting a big performance. They better have a big time performance on Thursday night, but they couldn't get off the field on third down if their life depended on it. And the Broncos controlled the clock. They controlled the ball. And, that's what happened. That's why they lost. When Jones had the football, they were kind of moving the ball a little bit. Daniel Jones had the one fumble where he was trying to get a first down 10. Inside he was inside the 20 at that point, and he fumbles. It was a terrible, terrible play. He's got to slide there. But other than that, I thought Jones played fine. Barkley, again, he didn't look ready. I don't know why he played. He did not look ready. Right. We were all excited. He couldn't do anything. Shepard played great. Galladay was good when they were throwing to him. I thought the play calling was terrible. They were averaging 2 yards a run on first down and 8 yards every pass on first down. And late in the game, when you're down a couple of scores at that point, why are you still running the ball?
Yeah. I gotta ask you a question about Jones here. So you said he didn't play bad. He played fine. But if that's the way he plays all year, where do you think this team will go? If you say he had a good season, he played fine, because I think that's what he's going to be at the most. I don't think we're ever going to consider him like a top 10 quarterback. Like I think he'll just be. I think his ceiling is essentially like a Derek Carr. I think that's his ceiling. So
like
where do you go from there? And by the way, at the same time, it's funny. I do not. I think Derek Carr, like I think he played awful last night. But anyways, go ahead.
It depends. Is the defense playing well? Do they have some sort of running game in that scenario? You're saying?
Yeah, the line's not bad. It's like the 20th offensive line in the league. The running game's okay. Saquon has 1,000 yards. That's it. No, he doesn't have 1,200 yards. He has like 1,000 yards.
I think that's a team that missed the playoffs. I think the Giants will look to upgrade quarterback. I don't know if they'll be able to. I think I've said Jones is going to have a better year, but I don't know if it'll be enough.
Right.
And I think they'll look to upgrade at quarterback if they can. They're going to have 2 first-round picks. Whether they draft the quarterback, I think that Bears pick is going to be high.
Yeah, you got to be excited from that Sunday night football game.
Well, they're disgusting. I always thought the Bears were going to be really bad this year.
Right.
Like,
I think the Rams are going to be really good too. I think
I'm petrified of the Rams if I'm a big time team in the NFC.
Right.
But I think the Giants will look to upgrade quarterback, whether it's with a trade too. You're gonna have 2 first-round picks.
Right.
So they could definitely make a trade. But I don't know. It looked more of the same from last year, and last year was pretty disgusting offensively. So if Jason Garrett's got to go at some point, I was happy about him being the offensive coordinator when he was here, when he was brought here. I was happy about him even coming into this year. I thought he'd be better. I thought he'd be more creative, and he wasn't. Kadarius Toney played 5 snaps. What the hell is that? Come on. What are we doing? So a lot's got to be better with this team. I'm going to predict they come out and win on Thursday night. I think that performance was disgusting, and I don't think that, especially defensively, that's not them. They're a good defensive team. I think they're going to be a lot better defensively. I think it's going to be ugly. But yeah, I'm going to say the Giants get the win on Thursday.
Yeah. I think it'll be a good game. I do think that Washington wins that game. I think that defense is, the Giants weren't moving the ball much against the Broncos. I don't know how they're going to be able to move it against Washington. You want to kind of do we'll go over our picks from last week, see how we did, and at the same time we'll address each game. So
yeah, that's a perfect idea. Let's take a look.
Let's start it off with the Bills. That's the first game I have on my thing. I took the Bills. This is going to be ugly. I mean, I went over it. I did not do well this week. I had the Bills -6.5. I thought this was a decently easy pick, actually. The Steelers, I was not high on them coming into this year. To be honest with you, I'm still not that high on them. But yeah, the Bills, it was a weird game. Josh Allen did not look very good, actually. So, I mean, I know it's a great defense, but yeah, Bills -6.5. They don't cover, they actually lose. So
yeah, I lost that one too. I agree with you. I thought it was gonna be easy. I thought Pittsburgh's offense wasn't gonna be able to do anything against that defense. And I'm gonna say this. I thought Buffalo's defense played pretty well. I think they looked like an improved unit, like we had thought. That's what a lot of people. That's the reason why people were picking them to take that next step, was because they thought the defense would be improved. Right. I thought it was. They scored 7 points off of a blocked punt. But yeah, Pittsburgh surprised us. I thought Allen didn't look good, but he still showed those signs like he's still that guy,
Right. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm actually I would say I'd be more concerned if the Bills lost and the offense looked good and the defense looked bad. I think the fact that the offense didn't look good, but the defense did, I wouldn't be that worried, because I think that offense is, Josh Allen's too good. That offense is too talented. And it is the beginning of the year. Sometimes, teams get off to bad starts, and they did play a very good defense. So I think that's
arguably the best defense in the league.
Right. So they were just kind of shaking the rust off maybe there. And I wouldn't get too caught up in that. We just went over the Jet game. What'd you say?
We're both 0-1 there.
Both 0-1. We just went over the Jet game. I believe you had Carolina, right?
Yeah, Carolina -3.5.
Yeah, I had the Jets +3.5. They almost covered. They went for 2 at the end and didn't get it. So Jets lose 19-14. So I'm 0-2. That Texans game, who'd you pick in that?
I had the Texans.
I did also have the Texans. I had the Texans +3. One of the biggest blowouts of the weekend, actually. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 picks. Tyrod Taylor made a couple nice plays, aired it out a
He
little
looked
bit.
good, Tyrod Taylor.
Threw 2 deep shots to Brandon Cooks. So kind of like we predicted, said that I think this Jaguars team is still, we both think it's a bad team still. The future is somewhat bright with Lawrence, but they have a long ways to go. And I think experience and the amount of veterans that the Texans have kind of helped them win that game on Sunday.
Yeah, good for David Culley. He's been criticized. That choice has been criticized. He gets his first win there. Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
So
have you
I don't think he'll
seen
have a
this
job
with Urban Meyer now?
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this.
Do you actually think that he's gonna leave to go to USC?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
Yes, I think he's gonna leave.
Oh my God. No way.
So why am I blanking on his name? Clay Helton, right?
Yeah.
Clay Helton was fired from USC. They haven't been good in a while, and he just wasn't cutting it. They fired him. A lot of people thought he was going to get fired after the year. They did it now, and that's been rumored to be Urban Meyer's dream job. I'm almost positive he's from over there, and a lot of his people from Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, where he was just coaching with Ohio State. A lot of his friends and family say that he's seriously thinking about it. I heard that this is the rumor. He'll cite health issues, leave, move out there, and then take the job for next year. That's the rumor I heard. But he's been like this, he just is. That's the kind of guy he is. A lot of people don't like him. I happen to like him for some reason. I've always been drawn to him. I think he's a great coach. I thought he would be successful in Jacksonville. I still think he will if he stays, but my prediction is that he will leave and go take that job in USC.
That would be insane. And yeah, like you were just saying about Urban Meyer, there's been rumors already that like their ownership or whoever is not happy with the way he's
not happy.
Conducted himself. He's not happy. He's not happy. He's had like outbursts, and they say he can't handle losing. Like he's like just crazy when he loses. He goes on like these like tantrums and everything like that. So,
but the funny part is he goes to USC. Listen, yeah, he'll recruit easily, when he gets there, but they're going to have a losing season or two. Like this team isn't close over there at USC.
Right.
So he'll leave this job to basically rebuild a program. And a lot of people, I saw Mike Lombardi, former GM, he works for the Ringer now. He said, listen, of course the college job is better. You get paid more and you have much more control. You're the GM, you're the director of player personnel,
right,
and you're the coach. But that's going to be a lot more work for him.
Right. Yeah, and in Jacksonville, coaching NFL versus coaching college is different. Maybe NFL players have bigger egos than college players. They're getting paid millions of dollars. They're not trying to make it to the NFL and just on scholarship and whatnot. So maybe he's just not up for it. A lot of guys come over that are great college coaches. They come to the NFL and they just can't handle it. So I didn't love the hiring. I know you did. I don't feel
as great right now because all these rumors and I thought they'd be somewhat successful this year, a little more. And as I look at it even more now and like really look at the Jaguars, I don't think they're going to win many games. So maybe he just loses interest, loses the love of it. He's not here for the long haul. I don't know. I made a lot of bold statements about them that he'd be in an AFC championship game in 3 years with Lawrence. I may be wrong about that. So listen, we'll see. That's interesting. That's something to monitor. But yeah, so I'm 2-1 and you're 1-2, correct?
Yeah.
Why don't we head out to Seattle? I mean Indianapolis, Seattle and the Seahawks. I mean Seattle and the Colts. There we go.
Yeah, add another L to my column. I had the Colts +3 in this one.
Yeah, I had the Seahawks -3. I liked how their record is when they travel out to the East Coast. They're very good. They're one of the better teams. So they dominated that game. My boy Carson Wentz didn't look so good.
No, they did dominate that game. Same old Russell Wilson. He'll be the MVP front runner and through week 5 like he always does. Yeah, his numbers in week 1, he's thrown 4 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons now or whatever.
Wow.
But
the new offensive coordinator looks like it's working. Hopefully they get on the same page for a full season and we can see a possible MVP for Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really go into much more depth about this, honestly, because I wasn't watching any of these games. I was obviously at the Jet game. So yeah, I saw Metcalf had a nice game. I saw Tyler Lockett had a really nice game. He had a beautiful catch in the end zone over the shoulder.
That was really nice. Lockett played well. Their
Yeah.
defense really played well
Mhm.
against a good offensive line too.
Mhm.
They got to him. They had 8 pressures. So
All right.
it was
What
a good game.
about Tennessee?
Man, did we get this game wrong?
Yeah.
Let me say something about Tennessee. I'm gonna be honest. I'm worried about them. I think Arthur Smith leaving it was big. He was their offensive coordinator. They had a great offense, and Arthur Smith didn't look great in his game. But I'd be worried about the Titans just because they had absolutely no offensive identity. They don't have an easy matchup this week. I don't think. I think they play. They play at Seattle. I think they're going to lose again. I'd be worried about the Titans for sure. Henry couldn't get anything going. There were no creative, plays.
Taylor Lewan got beat like a drum by Chandler Jones.
5 sacks for Chandler Jones. Taylor Lewan can go on his podcast and on Barstool, and he can go talk and cry about it, giving up 5 sacks.
Yeah.
I could have had 5 sacks against him. He looked terrible.
Yeah, brutal game.
Kyler is a beast. I love Kyler.
I could definitely see this being another big step for Kyler, and this could be like an MVP campaign. I could definitely see that happening.
And their first drive, JM, they literally had 4 penalties. The Cardinals.
Yeah.
4 penalties, and I'm like, oh my God, this is incredibly sloppy.
Right.
And then the Titans ended up having a bunch of penalties too.
Right.
It was a really sloppy game.
He made 2 phenomenal plays that game. That throw to Hopkins was unbelievable. He was on the run, threw it across his body in a tight window, and then the catch by Hopkins was ridiculous. And then that play where he scrambled and threw that little 15-yard first down to Rondale Moore was unbelievable. I mean, running for his life, knowing where everybody's coming from, and then it looked like he was going to scramble, and then being able to still I think he bought almost 10 seconds of time, literally, and then being able to make that throw. That was incredible.
Yeah, it was. And D-Hop looked good as well. He had 2 touchdowns.
Definitely that was a very surprising game to me. This one is right up there with one of the most surprising games. The Falcons were -3, and I picked them, and I was pretty confident in this. And not only did they not cover, they got blown out by the Eagles.
People are talking about the Falcons looking like the worst team in football.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think that's the case.
No, me neither.
I think, listen, can't believe I'm saying this. The Eagles looked like a competent team and franchise on Sunday. They ran the ball very well. Hurts played well. He was able to run a little bit. The plays that Nick Sirianni, I thought, and whoever the offensive coordinator had a great day. They were drawing up. They ran they had 93 yards on just like 7 zone plays.
Right.
Running the ball. I thought Hurts was able to, he had guys open all day. Rager was open. Devonta Smith looked great, and he was open. Dallas Goedert had a nice day. I think Hurts is going to be able to, throw the ball fine. And I just think they look so efficient offensively because their offensive line for the first time in a while is healthy. And their offensive line looked like it was like a men amongst boys.
Yeah. So they do have a very good line.
And their defensive front has always been good. They've never had a problem there. They've had Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and a bunch of other guys for as long as I can think of. I think we misjudged the Philadelphia Eagles. I heard the buzz a week before the season started, and I was like, no, they're a dumpster fire. And I don't know.
I'm not willing to, say what you're saying right now. I will take away the fact that I think they're going to be awful. I don't think they're going to be that bad, but if this team ends up being a playoff team, then obviously I'll own it and say I was wrong. I think a lot of people will be wrong. I did not see this team being good at all. I'm not a big believer in Jalen Hurts. I think he does have talent, but I don't know if it's how well it would translate in the NFL. So Yeah, I'm not gonna overreact too much here. The only reaction, like I said, I will give is I think this team could be a little better than we thought. I don't think they're gonna suck anymore. But at the same time, I could see them being a surprise team and making the playoffs this year and making a run at that division. With a good offensive line, you could do a lot of things. So yeah, definitely one of the most surprising games of the year. And then going to the Falcons, Matt Ryan did not play well. I'm not too worried
Ridley
about
played
I'm
terribly.
not too worried about them. I mean, obviously, we don't think they're making the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be like the worst team in the NFL. How about the
Chargers.
Chargers football team? I had
This is
Washington
a
minus
weird
one and a
game.
half.
Yeah, I had the Chargers. I forgot my record already. I'll think of it again.
You were yeah.
Um, I thought the Chargers had opportunities to run away with this game. And then I thought the Redskins had opportunities to win this game. I don't think they both played well. Ultimately, uh, Justin Herbert went on a nice drive at the end and closed this thing out. I think the takeaways from here is that Herbert is an elite quarterback. Their offensive line is improved, and that's going to do wonders for him in that offense. And I think Brandon Staley is going to win Coach of the Year.
Wow. Did you pick him for the preseason awards?
You know what? I didn't. Can I change that or no?
No, you can't. I think I
All right.
did. No, I did. Right? I
Did
picked.
you?
Yeah, I remember one of us picked Staley, and I think it was me.
I picked Shanahan.
Oh right.
I thought you picked Shanahan too.
No, I did not. I didn't pick Shanahan. You're Mr. 49ers. You love your 49ers.
I like my Rams
Yeah,
too.
good game. 20-16, right?
Yep.
Good game. Chargers were down at the beginning of the fourth quarter, scored the touchdown. Terry McLaurin made an unbelievable catch. That was insane. It literally went through the defender's arms, it looked like, and he caught it. But yeah, tough loss with Fitzpatrick gone now. I think Heineke's a good backup quarterback, though. He played pretty well in that wild card game, and I think they're going to take care of business against your Giants this Thursday. But
That's unfortunate.
yeah, Antonio Gibson looked good.
Not good enough in fantasy.
Not good enough in fantasy, but he did
I
look
would have
pretty
liked
good.
better.
Yeah. Didn't he have like at least what do you have like 15 or something?
He had 12. Didn't matter,
Okay.
You
Well,
knew
it's
the
better than
score. You
having
know the
Raheem
score.
Mostert in your lineup like I did with his two.
I have Raheem in my other league.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of Raheem Mostert, 49ers Lions. This was the greatest backdoor cover I've ever seen. I had the Niners minus 8.5.
I did too. And my friends who live in another state, we were talking about games before the game started. And my one friend said, I don't know. I think I like the Niners minus 8.5. They're going to blow them out. And I said, no, they're, I don't like it. I could see a backdoor cover and they're getting blown out. And I knew they were going to come after me like, oh, you're an idiot. And I ended up coming backdoor cover. We lose that pick right there. So, yeah, good for the Lions.
That game looked like it was. Yeah, you're right. It looked like it wasn't going to be a blowout.
Not much there other than Mostert going down. But I'll tell you what, whoever runs the ball behind that offensive line is going to have nice rushes and stats. So I'm not worried about them at all. I think they're going to continue to roll. I think they'll beat the Eagles, who I basically just proclaimed Super Bowl champions. I think they'll go into Philadelphia and beat them.
How about the Vikings minus 3?
Terrible. I had them in a pick 'em. Terrible, god awful Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
What a joke. Defensively, they look as crap like they did last year.
Yeah, and you're right. They were awful last year, and they have some good pieces on the defense. You thought it would be a little better. And you let Joe Burrow off a torn ACL, throwing
offensive line,
throwing dimes to Jamar Chase. You let Joe Mixon put up like 25 points in fantasy. You did something wrong.
He had 100 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. I mean, come on. And I try and be like this year. I thought the Vikings would be better. I picked them to win like 9 games, just missed the playoffs, 8 games, and they do that. Terrible. They're dead to me. I'm done.
Right.
Chase can't see the football. There's not enough lines on it.
Yeah. All right. Dolphins +3. I picked that. I picked the Dolphins +3 against the Patriots. They won by 1 point. You went with the Patriots here, right?
I went with the Pats there.
Yeah. Pretty good game. Low scoring game. Defensive battle. kind of expected it to be like that. Tua looked like Tua, nothing game manager, nothing special.
Exactly.
Myles Gaskin hot, had like 12 points. I'm all for the
Mac
Myles
Jones.
Gaskin.
Mac Jones looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but nothing bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll look to improve on that start. I thought the defense for the Patriots played all right.
Mm-hmm.
A boring game.
Definitely boring game. Moving on, the really entertaining game here, and a possible AFC Championship preview. Browns Chiefs. Oh, by the way, just before we get to this, I officially revoked my Ravens Super Bowl prediction before the game last night. I told my roommate.
Oh well, that's unfortunate because the season started already.
Yeah, I think they're just so banged up, and it was before they lost. It was, ask him. It was at 8:15. We're getting ready for kickoff. I'm like,
that's you should have done it 8:15 before Thursday. That's unfortunate.
All right, take it easy.
Yeah, you still got that finalized.
All right.
Give me Brandon Staley, offensive coordinator. The coach of the year, and you got a deal.
The Browns, they played well, and it looked like they were going to win this game at one point, but they ended up losing. They did get the cover at +5.5. Who'd you go with here?
I ended up taking the Chiefs. I said if it was 1 or 2 more points, I would have went with the Browns, but 5.5 was too little.
Okay. Yeah.
Baker. The thing is, the Browns look so good in that first half, and why they look so good. Run the ball,
running the crap out.
Play action.
Yeah.
Let Baker manage the game a little bit. And that's what they did. And they had to go away from that. And when Baker has to make plays and when Baker has to step up, they lose. So I'm not surprised. They were driving down the field. At the end, Baker throws a terrible interception. It is what it is. This team is being held back because of their quarterback.
Yeah, this is no doubt the make or break year for Baker. If they're still getting held back a little bit by him, and there's no more excuses. He's got all the weapons he needs. He's got 2 really good running backs. He's got some good receivers. I mean, Odell was inactive, but when he comes back, he's got even David Njoku's they have a great tight end room there. I think Njoku's a pretty talented guy, and then we know how good the offensive line, the defense is. So I think this team's still going to be really good. I think Baker will have a pretty good year. Obviously, he didn't have the best game, but you did play the Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, so that is an impressive game nonetheless. Giants, I cannot, maybe this was me being like the opposite of biased, like I was trying to be too unbiased and pick the Giants +3 here, because I really did think this would be a pretty close game. They were home, and I wasn't crazy about the Broncos with Bridgewater and everything like that. And boy, was I wrong. The Broncos ended up winning this game by 2 touchdowns. So I lose this one. Yeah.
I had we talked about this game. I had the Broncos. I thought Giants play a little better, but maybe lose by a score of 4 points. Yeah. So it's what it is. They got to win on Thursday. That's all.
Right.
Got to win on Thursday.
And here's the shocker of the week.
This was disgusting.
The Packers. Not necessarily that the fact that they didn't cover is a shocker. The final score is the shocker here. The Packers were -3.5. They ended up actually scoring half a point less than the line was. They scored 3 points, and they lost 38-3 to the New Orleans Saints in Jacksonville, the little neutral site, because of Hurricane. It was Ida, right? Hurricane Ida.
Ida. No, yes, Ida.
So, Jameis Winston with the weirdest stat line I think I've ever seen. 5 touchdowns.
Proclaiming Jameis Winston an MVP. Listen, the 5 touchdowns is impressive. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's got like
150 yards. Can you air the ball out a little bit?
I mean, I'm all for the Jameis Winston MVP resurgence bandwagon here, but
I mean, resurgence. It was never a Jameis Winston MVP thing.
Oh, there was. There was. Oh, yeah, there was.
The hell out of here with Jameis.
First guy with a 30-30 season. You do it in baseball, you get proclaimed. Yeah, really rough. I wouldn't worry too much about this if I was the Packers. I mean, it was a bad game, but in terms
of Packer fans aren't going to like me right now.
What?
They looked unprepared, and for Aaron Rodgers to do all that bitching all year to come out and look like he looks terrible. He
Yeah,
looks
he's
like
not
he's a
amazing.
55-year-old man. No. His looks.
Oh yeah,
He
he looks like
looks.
a
He's
hobo.
disgusting. He
Yeah,
looks like a hobo. He's an asshole. He doesn't talk to his
he
family. That's another story.
he looks like an old
He.
Jedi.
No, seriously. Like, I don't know. They did a side by side of Brady and him, and to think that Brady's like 7 years older than him. I mean,
Yeah,
Brady's a good looking guy, and this guy looks like he's 60 with the mom haircut. I don't understand. Maybe you would think this guy, he lives out on the West Coast. He, has a little. He dated Olivia Munn, who was one of the hottest people on this planet.
well, he's not
You
dating
would
her
think.
anymore.
I know he's got this other. I was gonna say something. I can't say that. He's got this other. I think he married her.
Yeah.
Listen, look better. I mean, come on. You're gonna host Jeopardy? You want to host Jeopardy looking like that? Get the hell out of here. Anyway, that's my Aaron Rodgers rant. He'll play better. I think the Packers will be fine. They got a lot of Super Bowl hype the week before the season. I saw that.
Yeah. Definitely concerning though. I mean, I don't think this is just something where you just sweep it under the rug. Okay, bad loss. I mean, the fact that the Rodgers part I wouldn't worry about, but
No.
just the fact that they gave up 38 points and just played so bad the way they did, it is a little concerning.
It's not a offense that's crazy good.
Yeah. This to me was the lock of the week. Rams minus 7.5 against the Chicago Bears. Looked to be a close game. The Bears were keeping it close in the first half, and then the Rams just took off in the second half, ended up winning by 20 points. Matt Stafford looked good. Cooper Kupp looked good. Tyler Higbee looks pretty good. Robert Woods caught a touchdown.
Here we go, Tyler Higbee.
Robert Woods got a touchdown, and the defense looked really good. So, yeah.
I think Sean McVay is salivating, that he has a quarterback that can stretch the field like this. In that offense, you're going to roll out. There's going to be a lot of play action, but there's going to be that chance for that big, deep shot. And Jared Goff couldn't do that for him. I think with a quarterback of Stafford's arm. Listen, Stafford's a talented guy. He hasn't won a lot, but he's a talented quarterback, and I think he's going to win a lot of games here.
Right.
I had the 49ers and the Rams both going 12-5, and I had the Rams losing in the second round, but I could see the Rams, taking that 49ers spot and being in that NFC Championship game and possibly going farther.
Right. And then finally, in what is an early candidate for the game of the year, the Ravens failed to cover. I had them minus 3.5 against Oakland. Oakland wins the game in overtime. First off, who'd you pick in this?
I had the Raiders plus 4.5. I got it at.
Oh yeah, 4.5.
It was when we did the picks. It was 4.5.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, I lose. But very, very, very rough loss for the Baltimore Ravens. For what looked to be a really rough loss for the Raiders. They got to overtime, and the Raiders had the ball at the 1 yard line. First and goal. They first they said they scored, then they overturned it, said he was short of the goal line. They had the ball at the 1. Tried to do a QB sneak with Derek Carr. Didn't work. Then second and goal, false start, moving back 6 yards. Then he got sacked. No? Did he get sacked?
Delay game, no?
No, it was a false start. Then I don't know, whatever. And then he ended up throwing a pick where he had pressure in his face, threw it, went through someone's hands, hit off the Ravens defender's helmet, went up in the air. Ravens pick it off. So it looks like it's going to be an awful loss for the Raiders. And then a big play
Lamar fumbles,
big play by Carl Nassib. Raiders recover. And I think John Gruden, first of all, I don't think John Gruden's a really good head coach at all. Right. I actually think he's a bad coach. But but his management there at the end, he got away with something where that delay of game, they brought out the kicking unit on second down from like the 29-yard line just to kick the field goal and win the game. And they ended up getting a delay of game, and it was a little too far, so they brought the offense back on the field, and then they threw the game-winning touchdown to Zay Jones. I thought that was such a stupid decision to put the kicker on the field on second down for a 46-yard field goal. Like, dude, that's not a chip shot.
I agree.
It's a 46-yard field goal. That is no chip shot, and it's second down. Run the ball a couple of times. obviously there's the threat of a fumble, but tell your running back, hold on to the ball as best as you can.
See
Get a
what you
couple of
get. See what you
yards.
can get, and then
Yeah, and make it a 40-yard field goal or a 39-yard field goal or whatever. A 46-yarder, and you're just going to kick it on second down. And he got away with it because there ended up being a delayed game, and there you go.
yeah. Well, see what Derek Carr said about Zay Jones, who caught the touchdown pass.
No.
He was like, "Oh, the hardest worker, whatever." He was so happy for Zay Jones.
Right.
So good for him. And I heard the Manning broadcast was absolutely fantastic.
It was funny. I saw some of the clips. It was really funny.
I didn't get to watch the full thing, but I saw some clips. Yeah, and I'm about to read a story from a guy that covers sports media, and I'm excited to see what he says. I heard it was great though, so it's definitely something that's gonna stay.
Yeah, that would be fun. But just to end going to Derek Carr, I mean, really did not play that well yesterday, if you ask me. I mean, he threw I think 2 picks. Actually, no, it ended up being 1 pick because one of them got overturned. He had a couple almost interceptions, and just missed throws on certain crossing routes. He underthrew Darren Waller a couple times, overthrew a couple passes. So I think Derek Carr is a decent quarterback. I don't think he's anything more than that. There are some people who say he's elite, but he just doesn't have an elite roster around him.
No.
I mean, no.
I like Carr more than most, but I think he's limited. You gotta have a really good team, really good system for him to win.
I think he's like middle of the pack.
Yeah, you could win with him if you have he's almost like a Baker. Like you could win with him
Right.
if the perfect scenario, but he's not gonna put you over the edge. You're not gonna win because of him.
Agreed.
Quickly. So you got the Redskins. I'm not gonna be able to stop. I'm not gonna be able.
It's only been like a year. You still call them that.
The football team. You got Washington on Thursday. I'm gonna take my Giants. They need it. I think defensively they got to come out and play a lot better. And that's it.
That's it. Long episode. Really long
episode. Listen, that's fine. It's football season. We'll be back next Thursday. This Thursday, we're gonna get or Friday. We're gonna get our picks for the upcoming week, and we'll see where our baseball teams are at. I'm excited to go tonight. Free food. Living in luxury, so I'm excited for that.
Right.
So so anything to say?
No, hopefully the Yankees play a little better here. Get a nice sweep against the Orioles. That'd be nice.
That's needed. All right. We'll talk to you guys later in the week.